Welcome everybody to tonight's episode of BionD&D. Last week, the keepers, well, not last week, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, us and a mace, both belonging at some point in time to Bronak the Indomitable, uh, the emperor of the, what was it, Sturkvillig Empire. Uh, Bronak Sturkvillig being his full name, he was the eponymous ruler. Um, And coming to this lake, you found it rather caustic. No, not caustic. I guess caustic is abrasive, acidic. Um, and you found a riddle on the shores of this lake that told you that you must explore the ruins of this long lost empire. So, exploring the mountainscape for a little while and searching, you came upon a path of uh, dwarven hallmarks and landmarks that kind of became denser and denser as you went in this particular direction in the Scairn Mountains until you finally came to an entrance, a very grand looking entrance to an ancient cave system. When you entered this cave system, you came upon some goblins. Clan, and were led by a brutish, although somewhat of a blowhard, uh, Bugbear. That's what he is, Bugbear. Um, After dealing with them somewhat, you agree to go deeper into the caves to try and sort out their orc problem, and in doing so, hope to further your own goal of figuring out how the heck to get through this lake of acid. As you explore the tunnels, you come upon one of the orc patrols, taking a couple of them out with relative ease. The one remaining you take as a prisoner, as a bargaining chip. Um, this orc is able to lead you through the tunnels with a little bit more direction than you were able to give yourselves, and eventually lets loose a tidbit of information that piques your interest. There was a deposit of uh, shoot, chemistry is escaping me. Caustic potash. In these ruins, and you test its properties a little bit and contact Jasna, and she confirms that yes, this will indeed do what you want it to. Your suspicions were aroused when the room it was contained in kind of had these murals of plans for fighting against the Black Dragon Ankalax and his acid breath, using this caustic potash as sort of a coating on armor and shields and other such armaments. So, resolving the situation with the orcs by effectively convincing the goblins to move on instead, um, and carrying this immense pile of caustic potash out in your bag of holding, you return to the lake, are able to neutralize the strong acid within, and Norwin dives down within using who was it who cast? Was it you who cast control water? Yeah. Um, and with that control water spell kind of giving you the breathing room you need, you dove down in, grabbed the annulus and the mace, and were able to come back up unharmed and able to breathe. And I believe that is where we left off. So, Keepers of Fate, what would you like to do in this final week of Snow Scour?
I think we should probably use the annulus to find the relic and then bring that annulus to Elawin right after.
You would recall that it's the annulus itself that is what Anlaun needs to heal herself.
Yes, that's what I just said.
Okay,
Use
it
the
sounded like you
annulus
were
to get the
getting the
relic.
relic first.
Yes, get the relic using the annulus, and then when we're done using the annulus ourselves, bring the annulus to Elawin.
Ah, okay, I see.
Wait, doesn't it? I thought the annulus sticks into the door
Mm-hmm.
and it stays there after you open it.
Not necessarily. You could remove
Oh,
it like you remove any key.
okay.
However, you don't know where the relic that this annulus goes to is. You know the locations of all the relics, but you don't know the links between the annulus and the relic.
Perhaps we can ask Enlaun.
I'm confused. I thought we knew where the relics.
Gotcha.
So we should go to Enlaun then, yeah.
Seems reasonable. Any objections?
What does Morthos think?
I think that's a good idea.
All right. Well, those are the two voices in the party most likely to disagree, and they agree, so I think that's a good choice. It will take you 2 days, once again, to get back to Enlaun, but the travel is easygoing as you've already traversed the route once. So 2 days hence, you arrive back at the network of caves, this time able to pick your way through with a little bit more ease, and arrive once again at the chamber wherein Rex and Regis still sit tending to Enlaun, and the ancient gold dragon herself has not been idle in the time you've been gone. In fact, as you enter, you see the group of them kind of setting about the last bit of a project, and this project is, as I mentioned before, there is another outlet kind of towards the back of this cavernous room where Enlaun was resting. And that outlet goes outward completely towards the surface of the mountain and lets out in a hole large enough for a dragon to fly through. At the base of this, where the light kind of filters through, illuminating the room, there is a large circle kind of dug into the ground, maybe about a foot deep and about as wide across. In its center is a smaller ring of 7 runes kind of arranged concentrically. Corresponding to each of these runes, there is a spoke going out from the outer circle. And then the rune repeated on the outside. The circle itself, this foot deep ditch, and the spokes are all filled with the petals of a rather gray-looking flower, as far as you can tell in the light. As you enter, Enlaun kind of raises her neck and turns over to regard you, and says, "Ah,
Yes.
very good."
I'm sorry, I thought Morthos was true.
Then, this evening we can begin the ritual.
Will the ritual make the key unable to unlock?
Oh no, no, it shouldn't.
What ritual are we talking about?
A healing ritual to restore my vitality.
Do you need anything else for this process, this ritual?
Ah, just these blooms from the Lucimen flower, which Regis and Rex have dutifully collected.
I'm going to sit tight and meditate then, I guess, biding time until they're ready. Are we invited?
Necessary materials. And brought me back from the brink of death. I think you've deserved a spot here.
That's very kind. We don't want to just intrude on a sacred ritual, so thank you for the invitation.
No intrusion at all. All right. So, does anyone want to do anything in the intervening couple of hours, except for just meditate? All right.
Nah.
I would like to. I have a couple other. There are 3 books that I need to translate, so I'd like to spend
yes.
time covering those.
We gave you hour totals for time to translate, right?
Well, we gave me hour total for the first book, but we didn't actually give hours for the other three books.
Do you have descriptions for them?
I only have that there were three other books.
Okay. Let me consult my notes right quick. Go, what's that? Ah, yes, library things. Good. Which means
Well,
it's
that's
in
what I
another
should call it.
notebook. My princess is in another castle. Um, I will get back to you to exactly what's in those books. But I would say that each of them are shorter than the first. I would say that all told, the three of them together would be another 36 hours, each one being about 12. So you can mark off, I think, 5 hours would be the appropriate amount of time before the ritual would begin.
Okay.
All right. Cool. So, as you are biding your time, the sun gets lower and lower in the sky until it has set completely. And once sunset and the moon begins to rise, the pale moonlight filters in through that and kind of glow and come alive. The grayish color that it had in the sunlight has changed to this vibrant purple hue. And it seems to like emit a light of its own as though it is bioluminescent. Um, as Does anyone know Draconic? I do believe Norwin does.
Yeah, I do.
Excellent. So I don't have lyrics or anything written out, but while the rest of you hear this enchanting, beautiful melody that uh, really contrasts with kind of the scratchy voice that you've come to expect from Enlaun. Norwin, you can not only appreciate the musical quality, but also understand a little bit of what the song is about. Um, and it seems to be a song in 7 verses, each one of them going through a stage in the life of dragons, particularly of gold dragons. Gold dragons mate for life, and so there is a sort of a tale of the passing of ages as it speaks of mountains being weathered and worn down and seas changing, but this bond still remaining, and several other kind of things in that same line of just the beauty of the longevity of dragons and how this cycle of life kind of comes back to them again and again, and how they can be reborn in a way with this sort of youth springs eternal uh, concept. And as she sings this song, the scales on her body begin to kind of pulsate with a very dim but definitely present golden light. And they almost seem to pulse in rhythm with the song. And you see the Lucimen flowers begin to do much the same, so that the whole chamber is kind of just illuminated by this gorgeous dance of gold and purple lights. The ritual continues for about half an hour before the song reaches its finish, and Enlaun's voice slowly, very slowly, like the final sort of measure, it's perhaps a full minute long, as the voice just slowly decrescendos into silence.
In Draconic, I tell her that that was beautiful.
She looks to you and bows her head and says, "Thank you." A lot of the scratch from her voice still kind of absent in the wake of the song she sang. She lifts her head again and says, "It is not lifetimes to repay. I will not forget that. But here now you have witnessed my rebirth, and in return, I have something to give you. While I was entranced in my song, I was given a vision, one that I did not expect. When I was entrusted the care of this annulus, I was told that neither myself nor any of the other guardians would ever know where the relic lay that the annulus was the key to. But in this vision I was shown that very location. With this annulus, if you wish to retrieve the relic that it unlocks, you must go south and west, across the land of Eaglin, into a body of water known as the Gyalvith Bay. Within that bay, deep underwater, is the reliquary you seek. I do not know exactly what awaits you there, or even which relic is there, but I was shown the reliquary door within those depths.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You said that was Galvin Bay?
Gyalvith. This is me being a linguistic pompous asshole. It is GJ, A with an umlaut, LL, hyphen VITH.
Really?
Gyalvith.
Whoa. Hold on. GJA.
With the umlaut, the two dots.
Yeah.
LL dash VITH. Gyalvith.
I don't even know how to get this thing on the key.
You don't have to type the umlaut. It's not that important.
Okay.
And really, it's more like Gyalvith, but I'm not gonna be that nitpicky about it. I can't even hear most of the call doesn't have the clarity for me to tell the difference anyway.
That's where you draw the line.
If you can hear that it's wrong, you'll say something.
Oh, Jesus.
Maybe not with this one, but like Yolanda versus Yelena, I kind of had to call that one out. Love you,
Yeah.
Jess.
Yolanda.
To be fair, that would have been a great name for her. It would have been hilarious. But
Definitely.
all right. So with that, she and Laun kind of bows her head again and says, with a little bit of the scratch returning to her voice, I must profess the ritual takes quite a lot of strength. I think I must rest. And she kind of curls into a little circle and burns a ring of flame into the stone around her and begins sleeping with it. I assume you all will take your rest as well?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Sounds great.
So we should probably set up a watch just for, like, safety's sake, but nothing happens during the night. I'll assume somebody stays up, but it doesn't really... nothing is venturing into a dragon's lair. That's a terrible idea. So the following morning, you have a choice before you. So you have the location of this next relic, and you have the annulus, and you also have the location of a map with all of the annuli. They are in somewhat opposite directions, and I'd like to know which one you all would like to travel to first. You may discuss it amongst yourselves as you are breaking camp in the morning.
There's not a way to bring the map up, is there?
Say again?
There's not a way to bring the map up, is there?
I mean, once you have the map, you could certainly, copy it down.
I think the issue is one of control. we have an annulus that's needed to get a relic. Okay, so we have that locked up. That relic cannot be had unless the annulus is taken from us. But the other annuli are out there. And so if we prioritize getting the other annuli, that means that we have some control of getting the other relics. So we can get that's one way to the relic and have that asset ready.
How close is the weapon?
Ah, I'm glad you asked. Let's bring up the map. Let's see. Where is the map? I thought it would be in my recents. It is not. Yeah, that'll do. Let's share my screen. Alright, so hopefully you all can see that. Enlarge it for the stream. Effectively, you all are about... Oh lord, that's not what I wanted. You all are about here. Yeah, it's sort of at the intersection of these three hexes. Gosh. Need to remember that. I need to control scroll. Alright, so here, the intersection of these three hexes, the relic is in Gyalvith Bay, which is here.
Sorry, where are you sharing this?
In Discord. You should be able to see it. Are you not able to?
I'm able to see it in Discord.
Jess, if you click on my icon in Discord, it might go larger and you might be able to see it better.
Oh, there it is.
Cool.
Sorry.
So y'all are about here. This area. And you need to get here if you want to get the relic. So that is... 16 days over land, and then another possibly 2 or 3 at sea, depending on precisely where in Gyalvith Bay the relic is. If you wish to go the opposite way, then your destination is up here, as the compass Cranmore has is pointing effectively due this way, which is slightly north-northeast. But call it
And some
northeast.
indeterminate distance.
You
Yes.
mean north-northwest?
North-northwest, thank you. Someday I'll get my cardinal directions right. Yes, north-northwest. And so you basically be passing back up through Lila. You'd need to get a boat. Either way, you'd need to get a boat. And then cross into whatever is up here. Which... ostensibly, although the map is showing this, I shouldn't be showing this one because hashtag spoilers. But ostensibly, all anybody knows is up here is a cloud of fog that no one has ever been able to successfully sail through. Folks get turned around and find themselves coming back out the way they came whenever they attempt to traverse it.
Interesting. I'd say if we went to Galvith Bay instead of going across the mountains to get a boat up there, we would be able to get a boat over in Galvith Bay, which would take us all the way around up to Shrouded Isle, rather than traversing a bunch of mountainous areas.
It also gives us more certainty of hitting a milestone, of achieving a goal, because we have more knowledge about that target. We have better clarity of where we're going, how long it'll take to get there, and what we're
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. We're supposed to be level 10 now, right?
Yes.
I was not talking about that sort of thing. I just mean...
But it was still a good reminder for those who may have forgotten. If anybody needs help leveling, we can do that after the session if you want.
I mean, milestones as far as getting relics.
Mm-hmm. which happened to coincide with milestones in the experience substitute, but you know.
Meta. So I am changing my suggestion, my vote to Galwith Bay. Is it meant to sound like Galway Bay
No.
of Ireland? Oh, there's a great song called Galway Bay that's now stuck in my.
Cool. That was unintentional, but I'm happy about it nonetheless.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Anybody else?
All right. Galvith Bay sounds like the party's decision.
So we're taking a long rest then? Oh, we already took a long rest.
Yes, you've gotten your long rest.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the morning. We're debating where to head out now.
All right, give me just a sec. As I attempt to prostitute us out for more views.
I'm nobody's whore, Matt.
You're right, you're just all mine.
Exactly. You don't get to pay me.
But it would be a privilege. All right, so setting out towards the southwest. Can I get? Let's see. Yeah, can I get perception and survival for? Since it's kind of a long journey, we'll do it 2 days at a time to just cut down on the amount of time spent not playing.
I rolled for survival and got an 18.
Okay. Who wants to do perception?
I got it.
Alrighty.
Just gotta get back to the rolling channel.
Yeah.
— 16.
16? Okay, cool. And could I get Morthos to roll a d12 for me?
That'd be an 8.
An 8. All right. Then subsequently, please roll a d10. Actually, it'll always be a d10, so I'll just call them both out at once in the future.
Ooh, crit fail.
There's no crit fail on this. Okay. Ooh. All right, now roll me a d4 because this requires another choice. Oh, fuck.
1.
Oh, that wasn't good.
What'd you do?
I dropped my dice tray, and a piece of the resin cracked.
Oh no.
Give me a sec
Oh no!
to retrieve it. I can glue it back, but it's unfortunate nonetheless. Now the
What
beholder
happened?
only has 8 eye stalks instead of 10. Let me make sure there's no other missing pieces. That one's fine. Might be a small one missing there. Yeah, there is. Alright, I'll have to make sure I find that. Okay. You said it was a what?
A 1.
A 1. Alright, then it's you. Cool. So, as you all are traveling on your second day, kind of getting yourselves out of the mountains, a herd of mountain goats is kind of pops up on your path, and as you're going, kind of climbing down a series of cliffs, these goats are kind of just walking nonchalantly down, right alongside you, just stepping down the sheer cliff. And Morthos, one of them takes a particular liking to you, kind of like bleating and like rubbing its horns up against you and kind of just like trying to be your friend.
I'll
Oh
pet
no!
it.
Random encounter.
What did you say, Morthos? Sorry.
Oh, I said I'll pet it.
Okay. It is very pleased. After, maybe an hour or so of heading down the cliffs with this herd of goats, they do kind of part ways from you, but that one goat that really enjoyed your...
Do a little horn rub.
Yep. All right. Excellent. So, next couple of days, can I
You
get
rub your
another...
horns on me.
Can I get another perception and survival?
I'll do a survival. I got a 5 for survival.
A 5. Okay.
15.
15 for perception. Alrighty. On your third day, you all do get a little bit lost. Morthos is pretty certain of a certain direction as he gets into the woods at the foot of the Scared Mountains. But before it can get too bad, Cranmore helps set him straight.
We've seen this before.
And you don't lose
that's because we're going in circles.
Yes. You don't lose a ton of time, but you do lose a little bit of travel time throughout the day. And Dennis, could I get you to roll a d12 and a d10?
Do you want the total of them?
No,
Or
the results separately. 12 first and then the 10.
4 and
4 and what?
4 and 4.
4 and 4. Okay. Okay. As you break through the edge of the woods that sit at the foot of the Scairn Mountains on the western side, on your fourth day of travel, riding upon the largest Clydesdale you have ever seen. This horse is just comically oversized for this rider.
That is my favorite breed of horse.
They're the best horses.
Who goes there?
Oh, hi!
Is it okay if I give your horse a couple of treats? What's the horse's name?
Oh, the horse's name is Carl.
Hey,
He loves treats.
Carl. Yeah, I'm giving some treats. I'm gonna hang out
Alright.
with Carl.
The horse loves the treats. All right, awesome. So you spend a little bit of time with Dave and Carl, and head on your way. So days 5 and 6. Yeah.
Okay.
I got a 10 for perception.
Okay.
16 for survival.
Okay. Cool. 10 for perception. Rob, can I get a D12 and then a D10?
If I can find the rolling channel.
Okay.
9 and 3.
Alrighty. So this day, as you're traveling, you once again meet up with a section of road for maybe the first half or so of the day, and you come upon a caravan of nomadic folk. It's maybe a dozen or so wagons. All of these people seem to be, relatively simple folk, living off the land and trading where they find more people. They'd be willing to trade if you have need of anything, but most of their goods are simple things. And as you come across them, they're actually in a bit of a pinch. One of their wagon wheels is broken. Would you like to offer them aid?
Absolutely.
I cast mend on it.
Okay. Um, Mending gets you kind of like the first bit. It's a little bit too big for Mending to do the whole job. But with that, it gets it to the point where, with Cranmore's woodworking skill, he can pretty easily set the wagon right again. And as a token of gratitude, one of the nomads hands you a little, like, it actually kind of reminds you of Jasna a little bit. It's a little clockwork toy. Nothing super fancy, but it kind of winds up, and when you let go of the winding, 3 gears kind of like spin and rotate this box around, and it's just kind of fun to look at.
I'm going to hang on to that. That's neat.
Cool. Alrighty. Days 7 and 8. Can I get perception and survival?
17.
Cool.
24.
All right. With a 24, you're able to, as you come upon kind of a little bit more of a difficult section of terrain, there's kind of a hilly area, and you note, kind of making a quick surveillance of the area from atop one of these hills, that it would actually be somewhat quicker to go around rather than take the time to go up and down these many hills. And you actually save the time that you lost a couple of days ago. In addition, could I get Norwin to roll a d12 and then a d10? 1. Okay.
1 and 9.
And a 9. Nice. All right. And as you do so, a beautiful chorus of bird song greets your ears. Just absolutely lovely. The birds are in rare form today, and I think Cranmore is the only member of the party who's really associated with the woods in any way. And as you are associated with the woods, you gain advantage on your next roll towards a travel skill. So perception or survival, you'll have advantage.
Beautiful music.
And just puts a skip in your step. Puts a skip in everyone's step, but especially yours. All right, 10 and 11. Perception and survival once more, please. We will get a non-event, I swear. Or a not, or an event, not a non-event. The non-events are what we've been having.
21.
Okay?
27.
Nice. All right. Making excellent time. I will actually say that you shave a day off of your total travel time with your collective improved bonuses to survival. And your perception was 21, Norwin? Good to know. Morthos, could I get another D12 and D10 from you?
It's 4 and 4.
All right. Well, we've already done 4, so I'm gonna move it up to 5. Oh, this is a fun one. Cool. So Norwin, you kind of hear this out a little ways before other folks. You hear this loud rhythmic thumping coming from ahead on the road.
Like
Sounds like very, very heavy footsteps.
almost like a giant or something.
Very possibly, yeah. Something
Okay.
giant, maybe not a giant, but maybe a giant.
Norwin,
How
do you smell
rhythmic is it?
something? Do you hear something? Do you smell something?
Quite rhythmic. Like it doesn't seem to be getting any louder or quieter. It just seems to be very rhythmic. It's not quite that perfectly timed. Like it's definitely a gait. It's something stepping. The rest of you
That's
can
like
hear
me.
it by this point too.
Oh,
You
like
guys want me
something
to
like...
scout ahead real quick?
Okay.
So
I'm with
I'm
you.
gonna scout ahead a bit to see if I can see what this is.
Okay. Are you doing so stealthily or just going ahead?
I'll do so stealthily.
All right. Make a stealth check
Haste
for me.
him.
What did you say, Norwin? Sorry.
I said haste him.
I guess it does improve your dex by 2. It would help. Or is it just your AC by 2, not actually your dex? I can't remember.
I don't know.
AC and then
But Cranmore would be reckless on haste.
I got a 16.
Okay. Yeah, your quarry is distracted enough that it doesn't really notice you. So it's something.
Can I get a sense of whether or not it would be aggressive or violent or?
You also notice that the giant is very oddly dressed. You don't know too much about giants, but in your mental perception of them, they aren't wearing like flamboyant, bright clothing with like puffy pants and all this like ridiculous ornate filigree on his vest and little tassels hanging off of his epaulets, things like that. Um, he doesn't seem to be a normal giant.
Whatever normal is. All right, still ahead of the party, so that I'm the only one at risk.
Mhm.
I'm going to approach, stay at a bit of a distance, but call out. Excuse me, do you need a hand with anything?
The giant kind of like rears back and kind of looks for the source of the noise. Are you revealing yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Like a kind reveal. Hello.
Yeah.
Friendly.
Seeing you, he kind of like he gets this like big smile over his face, and he says, "Oh, people, good, good. Um, have you? Well, hmm. Have you seen a very loud man? He's I would say small like you, but he's smaller than you, like a person size. But very loud, dressed kind of like me. Have you seen him?
I'm not. Is that fine?
Yeah, sure.
Just hold on a minute. We'll see if we can help.
I'm
And
not
I'll
going
go back
anywhere.
to. I'll go back to the party.
Oh, I've got to see that.
All right. Shall we together approach him again?
Let's do it.
Okay. As you approach now, he's kind of sitting cross-legged off to the side of the road.
How much does he tower over us?
When he is sitting, he's about Cranmore's height.
Okay.
So
Sir,
he's just
I'm
kind of
sorry, I
like,
didn't get your name.
oh,
I'm Cranmore.
it's very good to meet you, Cranmore. well, I don't go by my name anymore. I'm mostly just known as the Stone Behemoth.
That is a mighty title. That's impressive.
That's why I got it.
So, is this a friend of yours that you're looking for?
Oh, yes. He's a great friend of mine. Um, hmm. I guess the rest of you, have you seen? He's dressed kind of like me in bright colors and lots of finery, and he's kind of small like you all, not quite as small as you, he says, pointing to Rashido, but more like the other two of you. Uh, you're a very varied size group. I like it. Kind of like ours. But the small, loud one, like you, have you seen him?
I don't think so.
Can't say that I have.
He looks.
What's his name in case we come across and let him know that you're looking for him?
I. Most people call him the Ringmaster.
I fly up into the air and start searching around from a higher vantage point.
Okay.
The ringmaster? Is there a circus?
Make a perception check, Norwin. He looks at you, Rashido, and he gets this like really bright glow in his eyes, and he says, "Yes. We call it a carnival. Do you want to see my trick?"
So much fun! Yeah, please.
Okay. Can well, it'd be easier with him than with you, but I think I could still do it. Can you guys step forward?
I step forward.
He puts a hand out to Cranmore and Rashido and says, "Step in."
I step in.
Oh, yeah.
All right. It's a little bit harder with you, but he kind of picks you up and easily lifts Rashido. And then Morthos, are you also stepping forward?
Yes, I'll step forward.
All right. He tosses Cranmore into the air, tosses Rashido into the open hand, and picks up Morthos and begins juggling the three of you. Just as you're kind of like surveying. What was your perception check?
I got a 22 for perception, and then I rolled again to see if I was freaked out by this, and I'm super freaked out, and I'm like flying back at him like, "Hey, what are you doing? Stop that! That's so dangerous!"
At 22 perception, you can probably tell we're all laughing and
Yeah,
cheering.
as you get pretty close, you could tell they're having a grand old time. Intervene. You're just like, ah.
I would at least go and say, "Hey, whoa, be careful, don't drop them."
Oh, I'm always careful. As he's just sailing the three of them through the air. With your 22, or I think it was 22, you see a couple of groups on the road, a couple of groups of travelers. Um, one of them, a little ways north, seems to have stopped along the road, and their carts are very colorful and finely decorated. They seem like they might be a carnival troupe. So after a moment of juggling the three of you, he sets you back down on the ground and just kind of beaming from ear to ear, like, so if you're ever in a city, look out for the Carousing Carnival, and that's my troupe, and we'll put on a great show for you.
I'm a little concerned. When did you last see the ringmaster, and were you expecting to see him soon?
Oh, it was a couple hours ago. It's not the first time it's happened. I like to go off on my own sometimes, and usually I find my way back, and they know that. So they just kind of keep going. I walk faster than most of them, so I catch up pretty well.
What
But this
color was the ringmaster wearing?
uh gold and purple mostly.
Does that match with the?
You didn't really
I saw.
spy anyone in like any particular person. They mostly seem to still be in the wagons.
Okay.
But you would have seen those colors in the explosion of color within that caravan.
Okay. Then I tell him, well, I don't really see anybody that exactly matches that description, but I see a lot of gold and purple that way.
He kind of
To
looks
this.
behind himself, like up the road further, and he says, "Ah, that makes sense. Sometimes I kind of lose my way, and I thought it was that way, but I guess that does make more sense. Well, thanks. I'll go catch up to them and remember what I said about the carnival."
Thanks.
Anytime. And he stands up, which kind of shakes the ground under your feet, and just begins sprinting off towards the direction that you pointed him in, crossing considerable distance with each bound. All
I
right.
love it.
Cool. So that was 10 and 11, I believe. Wait, it had to be 11 and 12 because we
I think
started
it was
on odd
11 and
numbers.
12.
Yeah.
Well, plus we have an extra day.
Yes, so
That-
you will get there in 15 instead of 16. But okay, so 13 and 14. Can I get perception and survival once again?
26 for survival.
Okay.
24 perception.
Okay, nice. And can I get Dennis to roll a d12 and a d10?
On the D12, I got an 11, and on the D10, I got a 2.
Excellent. Good.
You seem very happy about that.
Well, it's actually a thing. Like, the non-encounters are fun, but the encounters are the real meat, you know? All right, we're going to take, like, a quick intermission because I need to take a bio and grab another beer. So we will be right back. Please bear with us, folks. It won't be long. All right, and we are back with weapons. Cool. So on this, the 13th day. Norwin, what was your perception check?
24.
24. Nice. Okay, cool. So, as you're traveling this day, it's a rather nice day, and you're kind of stopping to smell the roses every now and then, and you come upon the banks of a river. And just as you were about to begin fording it, Norwin, you hear something that sounds like a splashing. And at first, you kind of look around, and you expect it's probably just like a fish flapping out of the water, like a salmon jumping. Um, and you kind of look and you see a splash that seems to confirm your thought at first, but then it continues. And as you look closer,
The
and it
noise?
looks like someone struggling against the current.
Okay, I jump in and try to save them.
Okay, they are. It's probably quicker to run downstream to where they are before you get in. Um, they are
Okay, I do
maybe.
that.
They're like you definitely would have known that as Norwin, so I'm yeah. They're maybe about 50 yards downstream from you, and so you rush that way. Um, what's up?
As I'm running, I yell back, "Somebody needs drowning!"
Somebody needs drowning?
That's what it sounded like to me.
Drowning?
I started.
When did it get to be what
"Somebody needs
for?
help," and I said, "Somebody's drowning."
I figured that was what you said, but it really sounded like needs. I was like, damn, no one's about to go drown a bitch. Here, let me help.
Let me help you drown.
Let me help. The river. So you dash down those 50 yards with your party hot on your heels. And as you come upon the scene, you notice that it's not just that they can't swim against this current, they're actually trapped in a mechanism of some kind. It is a slender looking woman wearing a leather jerkin. Looking about, it seems to be a trap of some kind. Um, and what would you like to do to try and extricate her from this?
Uh, so do I notice that this stuff before I jump in, or
You're kind of taking it all in at once. So like your options are jump in and try and like break her free, try and examine the mechanism to see if you can undo it, try and break the mechanism from the outside, things of that nature.
What
You could
would
jump
Hawk
in and
do?
try and like lift her out of the water so she isn't actively drowning while she's trapped in the mechanism. There's a few options.
I jump in
Okay.
and I cast. First, I cast mending on the trap. See if I can maybe reset it or something.
It doesn't seem to do anything.
Okay, then I cast resilient sphere around her
Okay.
so that she now floats.
Let me actually check something.
Because the
That
air is
resilient
trapped
sphere.
inside.
Just ask yourself, what would the Hoff do?
What would the what do?
The Hoff.
David Hasselhoff, man.
Oh, okay.
You would fail at eating a burger drunk.
Just barely before my time.
No excuse.
Okay. I'm gonna say it works, but I am gonna say that the sphere, it doesn't break through the mechanism. It kind of wraps around it so that there are holes in the sphere, that are tightly kind of vacuumed around the mechanism, and they move with it. So like if the mechanism were removed, those holes would close up.
I would be trying to cast it mostly so that she can
Yeah,
float
absolutely.
more than
Yes.
anything else.
It's mostly just in my mind. I'm like, well, she's kind of wrapped up in this. How does it does it break the mechanism immediately? And there's nothing in the spell that
Okay.
says it would. So that's how I'm saying that part of it works. What you're
Okay.
looking for works.
So if I can
for sure.
break it from the outside of the sphere now, she'll be set free.
Some of the parts might remain within, but they wouldn't have the mechanism to hold her, so they'd
Okay.
just fall limp.
So
Is the
then,
trap made of wood or metal or stone?
Metal.
what does the trap look like?
It is 4 arms, 2 of which are kind of jutting up from the river, and 2 of which are kind of jutting up from the shore. That have all kind of interlocked. It looks like they might have like I'd say pneumatically, but that's not the actual mechanism. It's just the best way for me to describe it. Like pneumatically activated bars that kind of interlocked to make a cage.
Can I pull the whole thing, person and trap, out of the water?
You could certainly try.
So it's a
Without hurting
cage around her.
Nothing can hurt her while she's in the sphere.
But I mean, it's a cage. There's a cage around her.
Pretty much, yeah. But like a cage that is actively constricting.
But there's only 4 bars.
No, there's 4 arms. Each one of them juts out multiple bars.
Oh.
If I were an artist, I would have an image for you, but I am not an artist.
I get it now. I think. So, then I go to the nearest arm and I just start pulling on it.
Okay. You got really fuzzy there. I don't know why. I don't know if you backed away from your mic or what, but
Sounded like you were like rubbing the microphone with your hand.
No, I don't. It's no. So I go to the nearest arm and I start trying to just like pull it off.
Okay. So you're going to be doing that as Cranmore gets his action too. So you're trying to just lift the whole
work
mechanism
in
out.
concert with Norwin and not in opposition to him.
Sure,
So
I'm
Norwin,
just
what do you
saying.
want to do? We work together.
Well, she's clearly safe from drowning now, so all we have to do is get her out of the mechanism.
Tell me what to do.
See if you can pull that arm off.
I try to pull that arm off.
All right. So each of you kind of take an arm and try and rip them up out from the ground. Can I get athletics checks from each of you?
16.
Also 16.
All right. You both struggle against the weight of it. You're managing to kind of pull it up a little bit, and you can see that there's more to it than just these 4 arms. They're connected underneath somehow. Something is buried underneath of the river shore that kind of makes the whole thing one piece.
Can I try to lift it out of its base, like or base it up?
Sure.
Get this thing out of the river.
Just lift the sphere.
I want to see if if the person in the trap would be willing to be cast into gaseous form to get out of the cage.
Ooh.
Can sound penetrate
There we
the
go.
spell?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Can sound penetrate the resilient sphere?
I have a gaseous form spell that I can transform a willing creature I touch.
So even if it could, which I don't think it can because it says energy cannot pass through it, so I would say sound is energy.
Yes, sound is energy.
Yeah, but even if you could talk through it, the sphere would have to come down in order to cast the spell. Now,
Yeah, so
that might be worth it if you can get the split-second timing, but
So I use sending to her and
And it
ask
wouldn't
her.
work, and you know it wouldn't work.
Wait, what?
It wouldn't work, and you know it wouldn't work. No spell effect can go through.
Oh,
I'm gonna
That
try to pull the whole shebang out of the river.
cool.
Just haul it out.
Norwin,
with
are
her
you
in it.
helping him with this effort?
if I notice it, then yeah.
It's hard not to notice a moose tar trying to deadlift the.
Okay, then yeah.
All right, cool. So Cranmore, go ahead and roll another athletics check, this time with advantage.
$25.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Now, you lift and you deadlift this whole thing, and you hear the crunching of metal as it kind of starts to buckle in on itself, and you can hear the cracks as some of the gears that are interlocked moving these arms begin to snap and break apart, and you tear the base of this thing upwards. It's not completely free yet, but you've basically got it to the point where you can like push it up and over. I say not completely free because now you're at the point where it's like if you go much further, you might be pushing it onto her, or you might be trying to push it away, or do something else with it. So you've got it in a position where like it's in your hands.
Is she out of the water now?
Yes.
Wait, what's in his hands?
Okay, she's out of the water.
The base of the
So-
mechanism is in his hands. It's basically
Okay.
this huge, like probably 6 foot on a side square steel plate, several inches thick, that these 4 arms are coming out of. Now you see the corners of.
Do one of you smart people want to figure out how this thing works and undo it?
Yeah, can I? Now that we have it out of the water, can I investigate it more?
Yeah, make an investigation check.
Yeah, I'm looking at my spells.
Okay.
I'm not very smart.
Rashido cheerleads.
Hit 26.
Damn. All right.
Wait, what?
26.
Excellent, Morthos.
All right, sweet. Morthos, as Cranmore is holding it up, you kind of duck in underneath because you imagine whatever's causing this thing to move, whatever powers it, is likely in the most protected spot, which would be the hardest thing to get to underneath of it. So you duck in underneath and you begin looking around, and you can see what looks like a not a weld line, but like a seam in the steel, and kind of punching in through that, probably using a little bit of Eldritch Blast to get your way in. You manage to wrench it down and look up in, and you see an etched rune filled with what would this be? This would be a greenish powder.
Lick it.
It's like in a chamber below the person,
Mm-hmm.
just a bunch of green powder.
Yeah, like you've so it's like a big base plate, and there was a smaller, maybe like 1 foot square that you ripped off, and inside of that, like an inch or so thick or an inch or so deep into the steel, is this etched rune, and it's glowing with the color of this this greenish powder. It's kind of like
It's kind of
like
like,
pale green.
but does it read as something?
As it is a rune, it's not really like a particular word. Go ahead and make an Arcana check to see if you recognize it. But it's not something that your feet
read
would.
any language.
Any language. Runes are not a language.
Oh. Since she's on the shore now, I dissolve the sphere of resilience or whatever, and then I cast detect magic.
Okay. As you dissolve it,
By the way.
Sorry, what was your what, Jesse?
13.
13 on the Arcana check. Yeah, you'd recognize this. The rune it's relatively simple. It is a rune that translates the magical power that is stored in it into translational energy. So this activates some rod that moves that starts to spin the gears and keeps them going. Brian or Norwin, as you drop the sphere, the cage begins constricting again. It is able to move more freely and it's trying to crush her. But you also cast Detect Magic, and you do detect magic. You get a flare basically right in front of Morthos' face.
Then as soon as I see that, I cast Dispel Magic.
Okay. Let me double check the rules on that. I believe so. There's a spell level.
Third level.
Right.
For each spell of 4th level or higher on the target, make an ability check using your spellcasting ability. The DC equals 10 plus the spell's level.
All right. I would
Or
say
when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 4th level or higher, you automatically end the effects of a spell. Okay, so I cast it with a 5th level spell slot.
okay. All right. So you're trying to end it if it's 5th level or lower.
Right.
I should.
Otherwise, I have to make a check or something.
Now I need to know. So it doesn't technically have a spell level, but Dispel Magic should still work on this. So I have to decide what I think the equivalent level of this spell is. And I would say it's probably 4th. So I would say that probably just works.
Okay.
All right. So as the contraption begins to constrict on her, she will take a few points of damage as she cries out, and you notice you probably hear a little crack as it breaks into her ulna. Sure, let's go with ulna. But as soon as this happens, you dispel the magic underneath of the contraption, and all 4 of the arms just immediately go limp. She kind of puts her good arm up to
Like flaccidly?
stop it. Yes. You anti-Viagra'd it, yes.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
There's steel bars, right? The steel bars went flaccid.
They're articulated, so the joints kind of stopped being powered, and so the edges of them kind of clunked.
Yeah, it's still rigid. It's just
Right.
not rigid up.
Right. It's like my arm
Okay.
can be rigid, but if I make my elbow go limp, then the joint kind of drops and my arm goes limp, even though no part of it is still limp. But you're right, that wording wasn't necessarily perfect.
I upon hearing her ulna crack, I rush up to her and start healing her.
Thank you. I'm very lucky you came along. I appreciate your help. Pray tell, who are you?
We are the keepers of fate.
She gets a kind of a pensive look when you say that and says, interesting. I've heard of you. What are you doing in Eaglin?
Wait. I thought we were in.
You're in Eaglin now. You must stay.
Are you surprised we'd be in England?
Last I heard, you were in Dane.
Oh, right. Sorry, I got Erevar and Eaglin confused.
What have you heard of us?
Oh, just what's publicly going around. You know, your deeds with Alaton and Opetro.
Well, I actually grew up here.
Oh, intriguing. I myself am from Erevar. I was on my way back when, well, that happened.
Are you okay?
How did that happen?
Um, real quick, Morthos, make an insight check. I'm better now, thanks to you. I appreciate the healing. Having only one arm in my position would not be good.
9.
Okay. And your other question was, how did that happen?
Yes.
I was, I was fording the river, coming west to east, and just as I was about to clear the other side, I felt something grab me from below, and next thing I knew, I was thrashing about, trying not to drown.
But why were you in the trap?
It sprang when I came across the river.
Oh, it's
Mortha,
more
do you
for,
understand how traps work? I look at him. Puzzled.
Was that trap meant to capture game?
I don't know. I've never seen its like before, but there are many things in England that surprise me.
She just doesn't do anything magical, does she?
It seems to be a
Um,
health hazard. You should speak with your local city council about that.
Well, I don't think you'll find many local city councils around here.
What do you do that requires 2 arms?
Traveling. It'd be bad to have one arm while traveling. If I were accosted by bandits, I'd have no way to defend myself. It's dangerous to travel the roads even in good health, let alone with a limp or an injury. So many questions. Am I under some scrutiny here?
No,
No,
we should get
of course
moving
not.
though. If you're okay, are you okay to keep moving on, or do you need anything else?
I'm fine. Do you have anything to prove who you are? If you're traveling through Eaglin in these times, you may come upon folks who aren't as trusting as I.
We have our tattoos. I show her.
Those will only serve if folks know that you have them beforehand. It might.
What would
Is it
constitute
good for us?
appropriate proof of our identity? Besides, I mean, we're a motley crew.
If they think you're from Dane, they may not take kindly to you.
How would they
I
take
can prove that I grew up here at least.
If you knew the lay of the land, that would be a good start. Now, she actually, so Cranmore, as you say that, she kind of takes her first real look at you, and she kind of looks taken aback for a moment and says, "I suppose they wouldn't think you were from Dane. Although,
No,
a moose tar, you're rather far from home."
very far from home.
He is an avid traveler and learner of many cultures.
Does he have his antlers?
Not right now.
Okay.
Hooves and the,
You gonna let
Actually,
us
none
know
of
when
you
to
would
start
even
throwing
know
at?
about that, I don't think.
yeah, they'd
I
be
don't think we
coming
know that you're
in
a
a
moose
couple
tar.
of weeks.
Yeah, but she just said
She
it,
does.
and I'm like, what? I'm like, you. What's a moose tor? He's a centaur.
Gives
It's all the same to
cloven
you
hooves
guys,
and
really.
the lump on the central spine. The moose.
I'm
Okay.
big and handsomer.
Looking at your central spine, man.
I just kind of look at Cranmore like puzzled, like, "Brr?"
Huh. Here I thought I'd seen everything. Well, yes, knowing the lay of the land should work well.
But how are people taking our group in this land? Does our name come across favorable?
Make a persuasion check.
22.
I wouldn't normally give this information out, but given what you've done, I suppose it's not bad for you to know. Most of the nomadic tribes either haven't heard of you or think that you are a legend, not something to be taken seriously. Something that is a little bit more talked about than is really appropriate for your experience. Now, I don't think that, but those are the words I hear from the nomads. Now, if you look a little bit more towards the cities, what few there are in this land, there you'll get a bit more of a mixed bag. The cities I've been to lately, they like you. The ones a little bit farther south, less so.
Well, you know what they say: Asmar have wings because they take themselves lightly.
I suppose there's no use in hiding it. Keep it to yourselves, but my name is Kersha. I am the daughter of King Pentrum. And in his
out of character,
absence, King
who is
Pentrum
that?
is the newly default monarch, one of two, of Erevar.
Oh
In his
shit!
stead, I have been tasked with the rule of the Grasslands Duchy, but I have other offices as well. I've been here in Eaglin, attempting to garner some support for Erevar in the war.
I'm sorry, what did you say your name was?
Kersha.
Are you aware of the cause of Dane's aggression?
More than some?
You know of the Wraithhearts?
Yes.
Perhaps we could help end the aggression.
That would be ideal. If you can gain more support among some of the Iglini bannerlords, that would help. Any more troops in the army is useful.
Yes, because what Dane is doing is just terrible.
What's her name?
Kersha. Kaertia.
Kersha, did you know Inixia, the court mage in Erevar?
I've heard the name. She was a bit before my time, but I've heard of her, yes. Why?
We've already passed her in our travels this way, and have gotten some of her support. So you should know that we are rather on the side of Erevar here. We're not. We don't
I'd be
appreciate.
worried if you weren't.
Right. Well, right. Um, I think what's thrown myself into this mix. Uh, normally, our tribe wouldn't be getting involved in these kinds of politics, but
Oh, indeed.
Since we found out the way uh, the Erevar royalty has been overthrown, slaughtered, and what the Danish king has been going about doing, some of us are getting pulled into this.
There is like a moment of pain you see cross her face when you mention the deaths of the other dukes and duchesses.
Yeah, I
Yes.
felt it too when Anixia explained it to me. I didn't know until she told me.
Iger used to be a good friend of my father's and of mine. It's a great loss. Yes, if Anixia is willing to lend her support, that would be well. Her power was not insignificant, although she could be headstrong, from what I hear. Still,
Is
any...
Nixia the one that kidnapped Farkin?
Yep.
Okay.
Still, any powerful practitioner of magic on our side is good. Lord, gods know we'll need them.
Are you from a nearby city?
No, I am from Agrila. That's the capital of the Grasslands Duchy in Erevar.
Is that close to Agrobar?
It's with an O, Agrola. But phonetically, yes, kinda. Culturally, not at all.
It's an aggro bar.
It is actually agro because of agriculture. 100%. So like an agro bar could be like, a hipster dining establishment in Agrila. That could be a thing.
Are there any cities on the bay west of us?
What was the first part of the question?
Are there any cities on the bay west of us?
Damn, you're getting to points that I haven't named everything for yet. Yes, and she mentions the names of a couple of prominent port cities. Shoot. I have one. Where are you? World? No, under Glen. Okay. No, I don't. At least not in this section of notes. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I'll have more fleshed out names probably by next session. But I have not finished mapping out that section of Eaglin yet. But Kersha knows them, and will tell you the names of several port cities. And tells you which one is closest.
We're on our way west towards the bay. Is there anything to be wary of on our journey?
Are you going into the bay?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, then the whatever captain you choose to commission can tell you plenty, but there are parts of the bay that you just don't go into. Sea monsters and storms and whirlpools abound, at least if you listen to the sailors' tales.
I do love a good tale.
You're like touching tails.
Well, I do need to get back and make a report. Is there anything else I can do for you before I go? In fact, it may or may not help, but I may as well. And she unrolls a sheet of parchment and places it over a wooden plaque, and pulls out a quill and ink and begins writing a short note that she then she takes out a wax seal and looks at you, Farkin, and says, "Would you mind?" and holds it out for you. I could use a light.
Okay.
Right. As you light the tip of the wax seal, she waits for it to melt a little bit and stamps in her seal on a ring, and hands Morthos the letter. She says, if anyone disbelieves you and you don't happen to be with someone who knows the lay of the land, that should lend you some credence."
I thank you.
I would be careful not to use it with any of the more southerly lords, though, as much as they are not quite as favorable to the Keepers of Fate, they are also a little bit more sympathetic to Dane's side of the war.
Noted.
Then I'll be on my way. Good luck, Keepers of Fate. she will take her leave. All right. Excellent. So that was 13 and 14. Let's do our final day of travel before you get to the coast.
I only got a 9 for perception.
Okay. And Cranmore, survival?
$13.
9 and 13. Oof. Dennis, could I get a D12 and a D10 roll from you?
A 10 on the D12, an 8 on the D10.
What was the first one? Sorry, a 10 on the D12?
Yes, 10 and then 8.
Okay.
Tenacious.
All right. That was really good. Um, yeah, I think that gets you 100 bonus. Well, there's no bonus experience anymore. That gets you
Aw.
bardic inspiration.
What does that do?
I want to say it's gonna be the lowest level. I think it's a D4, maybe it's a D6. But you get to add it to a attack roll, saving throw, or ability check.
Okay.
Bardic inspiration.
Yeah, I got a 4.
Oh, you just like the next time you roll it. Yeah, attack roll, ability check, or saving throw.
I add the thing that I just rolled to it, right?
You can. I would say roll it then, just so you don't have to remember it. But if you have a place to write it down, you can use that roll. It is actually a D6 though.
Oh, better.
Yes.
Possibly.
Right. Better on average. With a 4, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get bardic inspiration. That's I guess what we'll do for really good puns now. Let me hit the light. Don't want myself looking like a weird gremlin who lives in my parents' basement.
Why not?
I don't know.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Gosh.
It's
Nothing.
your basement, Matt. It's okay.
Right, but I don't want it to look like it's not my basement. Don't think too hard about that. No, it does not stand up to scrutiny. What's your point? It looks like I have to come up with a city name because you guys have to get to a city in order to go into the bay. So give me like 30 seconds.
Portsmouth?
No,
Portsmouth.
maybe.
Portland?
No.
He likes mine better.
Yes, Googling town is going to get me what I want without the etymology or
Shreveport.
anything else.
Would you say Shreveport?
All right, it's literally just gonna be like Portland, but in Old Norse. So it's gonna be Hoffengard.
Portlandia.
Hoffengard. So the nearest port city in England that borders the Gjallvith Bay is Hoffengard, and on basically like right as the end of the 15th day of travel, you make your way to the edge of that city. It is a city by Iglini standards, where so Morthos, you are from Irehall, which is probably the largest city in that country, and it is only that large because it is right on the border with Dane, and is
I'm from Irehall.
I thought you were from Glademont.
Oh, right. Yeah. You're right.
Very close, but not exactly the same.
Don't be taking my
Yeah.
hometown.
um,
It's still my backstory, bro.
but yeah, so like Hall is only that big because it's on the border of Dane and it gets a ton of like merchant travel through there. That is like far and away the biggest city in England. This is maybe like next or within like 2 or 3 of that, and it is less than half the size. The city is maybe 10,000 people.
Wow.
I'm still impressed. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's certainly it's big to you, but
Yeah,
for folks
a
who've
tribe, that's a lot.
like anyone who didn't grow up in a cosmopolitan area, which is probably just Morthos, maybe Farkin, probably Farkin. With your background, I feel like you would have grown up in a bigger city. So like to you two, it's like okay, yeah, it's a city. It's not that impressive. But otherwise, it's sizable.
We're walking up to it now, or
Yep. There are a couple of guards on the outside, and they query you as you come before the gate, which is a simple but sturdy, a strong wooden palisade. The two of them kind of step forward. They seem to be a little bit bored. There haven't been many coming in and out today. They step forward as you approach, and one of them kind of calls out an older-looking tiefling man. Calls out, "Greetings, greetings. What brings you to Hoffengard?"
We're passing through, actually. We're on our way, traveling about, seeing the countryside. And we're stopping here on the way to the bay and hopefully crossing it to the other side.
yes, looking for some boat travel.
Well, you'll certainly find that within the city. I just need to know a couple of things. Where do you each hail from?
I'm from Glademont.
Ire Hall.
I see.
I
I'm
do
from
not
the
have that information.
far north.
Very well. And you, I was about to say young, but you're not young, are you? Master Halfling, where are you from?
Yeah, I'm just very small. I actually forget the name of it right off.
All right, that's fine. I don't remember it either offhand. So
I thought you were
Green
trying
Day.
to like throw
Name
it
your
off by
hometown.
telling something truthful as a side answer to something that he didn't ask.
No, there's a fucking has a whole background.
I only have your backstory written down from the time with Azareth.
Yeah.
Sorry. But okay. So, yeah, he's well. Very well then. Come on in. If you're looking for food or drink, your best bet is the come up with a. Someone give me an animal.
The
Elephant.
gopher.
Elephant was first. The excitable elephant is about half a mile in, and then a little ways to the east from there. You'll know it by the very clear smell of baking bread. It is very noticeable. If you're looking for lodgings, the same place, or a little bit higher class is the names are hard. The lofts, which are so named because they sit on something of a plateau just off of the shore. Most of the shoreline is a beach, but this section is cliffs and has a wonderful view of the bay and the surrounding area. Commands a bit of a higher price, but it's nice. And well, if you have any other questions, if you're looking for something more specific, just ask.
What kind of atmosphere do those two places have?
Well, the excitable elephant is a little bit more down to earth. Most of the dock workers go there when they are done with their day's work, and corrals do their evening rituals. It's a jovial place, but nothing not very calm, I suppose. The lofts are a little bit more idyllic. You'll find yourself a bit more able to relax there if that's what you're after, and a bit of entertainment if you wish it. Several bards frequent the area, uh, traveling troops of players, and that sort of thing.
I head to the lofts. I have a lot of. I don't know what to
Norwin
do.
fucks right off and leaves you for the loft.
Wait, Norman. I'd if you could get me a room at the loft, but I will meet you down there later, as I wanna step into the excitable elephant.
All right.
Sure.
Sir, thank you very much for giving us our bearings.
Of course.
Or madam, I don't know.
Definitely a sir. The other one is a
Does
madam,
Cranmore know
but this
that?
one is a sir. Having seen male and female tieflings, he's probably at least aware enough.
I just couldn't remember the description.
Yeah, I figured it was a Dennis question, not a Cranmore question. Cranmore's like, sir, or madam.
Or madam, I'm not sure.
By the way, that's a brilliant beard that you have.
Why, madam, what a great beard you have!
Hey, don't make fun of what was the giant's name? Oh, the stone behemoth. Don't make fun of the stone behemoth's coworker.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the bearded woman.
He mentions, and if you have any more questions, there is a map of the city inside the administrative building, which is just on your right as you enter. But those are the two main ports of call, so to speak.
Thank you
Other
so
than
much.
the actual ports, which are quite obvious. If you just keep walking straight, you'll get there.
So I say that I'm comfortable if we want to split up a bit, then meet up together in the evening over dinner at, I guess, the loft.
Oh yeah, what time of day is it?
It's getting on towards evening.
Oh, then I don't want to explore until the next day.
I at least go to the place I just said, the loft, and then maybe explore a little bit around there.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's that late, I'll go straight to the loft.
It's not like, I mean, it's like just at sunset. It's not like the middle of the night or anything.
Oh, it's like after a day's work.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then I'm back to my original plan.
Alrighty. Does anyone else want to accompany Morthos to the excitable elephant?
I'll go to the elephant.
Alrighty.
I'll wait at the loft.
Okay, so splitting the party. Excellent. Time to kill you all. Okay, so we'll do Morthos and Farkin first. So as the two of you walk your way through the streets of the city, you do note that that pungent smell of baking bread. But there's another scent to it that the guard had not quite mentioned, and that is it's somewhat like bread, but it's like a very very strong scent of yeast as the elephant is fermenting their own ale, and the smell also permeates the region. So you approach with both of these.
They all have yeast infections.
Oh no. So you approach the elephant, and as you do, the sounds of merriment and drinking and carousing meet your ears. The door is wide open. There is a light spilling out from within, and the sounds of dozens and dozens of people making merry. As you peer inside and take your first steps within its warm walls, you see that much of the light comes from a blazing fire in the hearth, which several patrons are kind of teetering perilously close to with high-proof liquor. But none of them seem to make the mistake of spilling their drink or falling over. There is a group of folks playing what looks to be something akin to darts, but with throwing axes. Um, many folks just drinking and having a grand time. A terrible group of bards and minstrels playing in one corner. People are dancing to it, but it's mostly because they're drunk and they don't really know the difference right now. Um, in addition, there's several kind of cliques of dock workers that you note, uh, many of which are gambling or playing games of that sort, some of which are talking over drinks, and others still are kind of quietly nursing a mug of ale and observing the evening's festivities.
I'll approach the bar, grab an ale, and look at the people.
All right, the barkeep, a strangely tall dwarven woman with blonde hair, grabs you a mug of ale from the back and plunks it down in front of you and says, "That'll be 2 silver."
Hand
No,
over.
sorry, 2 copper. That's my bad.
I'll hand over a silver. So you keep the change.
Next 4 are free then. Puts it in her pocket.
I'd like to strike up some conversation with someone drinking next to me to see someone either local or from the.
Sure, there's a pair of dock workers sitting next to you, chatting about just their day's work.
I want to ask him what stories they hear of the trials and tribulations of
Of what?
the countryside.
Okay. One of them kind of sets his drink down and looks you up and down and says, "Well, it depends what you mean, friend. Are you talking about the war, or are you talking about travelers getting accosted on the roads, or are you talking about the storms that more and more frequently roll in from the east, or are you talking about the general cloud of gloominess and hate that hangs over Dane, or are you talking about... You get my point.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've been traveling, me and my friends, across the countryside, and we've we've seen a spectrum of uh, conditions that people are talking about across the country with this war going on, and just looking for your stories of how people are taking it and how uh, uh, what people are feeling about as this war grows.
The other one kind of pipes up and says, well, so far, it hasn't done too much for Eaglin. We haven't been too involved. Most of our lives go as they have in the past, but I don't think anyone's under the delusion that that can remain the case. I mean, there hasn't been a war in, well, the world since the Scouring. And if you ask me, if 2 countries are at war, it's only so long before the third gets drawn in. We've been 327 years without a major conflict. I think it's just all coming to a head.
There's a lot of unrest across the city. I mean, we've seen Dane building armies up near the north. You know, uh, it could come here just as
Probably
easily
will.
as. I've been building a mass of followers across different cities. Um,
Who are you?
my name is Morthos from the city of, or I center a lot of my communications in Lila.
Lila. I haven't heard of it.
It's a newer city, a resurrected city near the dead.
Deadwood. Cursed, innit? How'd you get a city inside there?
I say it has its myths, but I don't see any of them being any.
Well, that's more often the case than people want to admit. Half of our stories are just stretched truths until they don't resemble the truth anymore. Fair enough.
Do you see a lot of resistance against Dane in this area, or do you think people are more apathetic?
Lately, I think no one's been taking kindly to it. There's rumors of the Danish royalty and other folk doing dark things. And, well, there's certain powers that men just weren't made to mess with.
Do you hear any names in the area that are trying to develop more, build up resistance against such a future action that will take place?
There was some chick, Kara? I don't remember the name. It started with a K. Came around a couple of days ago, talking about the evils of Dane and trying to get people riled up. And she did some, I guess, but for the most part, people in this city, we figure if something comes our way, we're just gonna go into the bay and sail away from it.
Isn't the bay your biggest defense with all those cliffs over there?
On one side, but that's not where Dane will come from.
Where is this person staying or hanging?
I wouldn't know. She might have left already. Morthos, you would recognize that he's probably talking about Kersha, the person you all just rescued. But let's break over to Farkin for a second. What are you doing?
I'm eating some bread.
All right. You want to strike up conversation with anybody? Or are you
And I
trying to
was
listen
eating some
in? Or...
Honestly, I'm kind of eavesdropping on Morthos a little bit.
Okay, makes sense.
Just kind of hanging around, just kind of, picking up.
Alrighty. Morthos, the first one, kind of pipes back in again and says, you said you got a following of some sort. What's that look like? And what's brought you here?
Well, I'm really trying to get a stronger sense of communication between different communities against this ever-growing Dane, and I really want to gain trust with groups of people across the country to exchange what's going on with the war.
Kind of looks side to side and kind of leans in. Gets like a little bit closer to you than most of the other patrons are staying, and he says in a bit of a hushed voice, and there's two things you need to know. The first, that most folk around here, what they care about is shipping. They care about carrying goods up and down the water in a boat. That's what draws them places. That's where they get their information. That's where they get their livelihood. It's what they like. Second thing you should know is that there's a bit of a movement already going on. There's the woman who came here a couple of days ago isn't the first. She won't be the last. There's already a small but important group of shippers that are trying to bring materials from England to Erevar to help with the war effort. It also opens up lines of communication.
That's very good information. I appreciate that.
The second is like kind of making a bit of extra noise while that part of the conversation is going on, like thumping his mug extra hard against the wood and kind of drawing attention away from the two of you onto himself as that conversation is happening. And the first, as he kind of like claps an arm around your shoulder and begins to pull away, he says, "You want to know more?
I do.
Ask for Delris at the docks." And he kind of goes back to his previous position a couple feet away from you and takes a swig from his jug of ale and waves the bartender down and asks her for a refill.
Someone's already seen Delris.
You said her name is El.
Hmm?
You said her name was Elris.
Delris. I don't know if you were talking, Morthos, but I could not hear you.
I was not talking. I was typing.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Farkin, go ahead and make a perception check to see if you overheard that. It very well might be that Morthos tells you anyway, but...
I got this as an 18.
Alright, yeah, you can overhear it.
So when Morthos turns around and talking to this guy, Farkin's in his face and says, "So we're going to see this Delris chick, huh?"
The other one's like, ugh.
Pipe down.
No, yeah, she's a great captain. If you feel like you want to go fishing a little bit deeper in the water, she's your gal.
We definitely want to go fishing. Wink, wink. I say wink, wink out loud.
Good for you, wink, wink.
I'll go on and drink my other 4 beers and leave another silver tip on top of that.
All right.
And I'll head back to the loft or over to.
Alrighty. Excellent. All right. Are you all doing any investigation around the lofts, or are you just looking? It is plural, by the way. Lofts. I know I just made it up on the fly, and I know you know that because I told you that I didn't have a city prepared. But I'm gonna stick to my proper nouns nonetheless.
I was just thinking of the place in the flats called the Loft.
I was thinking of the clothing store because Emily really likes it. So I was like, I have to differentiate it from that, so it has to be plural.
I'm just sitting outside waiting.
All right. Norwin?
Talking to anyone that might stop to want to talk.
You get a couple of interested parties. Some of them are curious what a centaur is doing in the city. Others just want to chat. You know, some gregarious drunks.
Hey, all right. And then, in a bit of a lull, I will sing some quiet songs I've heard on our travels in different.
Swing low.
Cranmore just starts going, and it'd be alright if we'd make it around the horn. Norwin, what are you up to?
I mean, I'm looking around the area of the lofts.
Okay. Make a perception check for me.
18.
All right. So a lot of what you notice is first just confirmation of what the guard was telling you. The area does seem to be home to the more well-to-do. Um, there are like the folks who walk in the area are kind of a little bit more nicely dressed. You see a couple of evening gowns here and there, a few couples arm in arm walking out of buildings that, as the door opens, you hear sweet lilting tunes come to your ears on the wind. The houses, or perhaps, well, houses of either dwelling or entertainment. Both are a little bit larger in scale here. There's a few kind of like cliffside villas. Um, and then the lofts specifically refers to what actually looks like a converted lighthouse. There is another lighthouse that is in current use as such, a little ways away, like kind of on one of the edges of the like corners of the cliffs. But the lofts are built into this older lighthouse that has been repurposed into an inn. Um, and there is music coming from several troops, sort of positioned around the base of the lofts. And for every two that are playing music, there might be another that is putting on a play or performing some other sort of art. There is a man, an elven man, who sits outside of a rather large dwelling near the lofts, who offers passerbys portraits of themselves, painted by himself. So you get the sense that like this kind of is a little bit more of like a luxurious district. Um, is there anything in particular that you're looking for, or just trying to get a general sense?
Just more of a general.
All right, then that is about all that presents itself to you.
Okay, I just kind of go back to my room and.
All right, it will be a gold for the night for each room.
Each
I
room? How many rooms?
A room can fit two, or you can have one each.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be outside.
That works too.
I saw some two for myself and.
Okay. Cranmore, as you are outside, so obviously you see Morthos and Farkin return. Is there anything you want to do or say with them when they get back? Or Norwin? But Cranmore would have the first opportunity.
I greet them.
Okay.
I let them know if they're the first ones back or if one of the other parties already there.
Okay, cool. I just wasn't sure if like you were waiting outside specifically to like, say something to them or hear what they had to report when they got back or something. Just checking.
That's up to them.
All right. Cool.
Hail.
So Cranmore, as the night wanes after rooms are gotten, not too late, maybe around like 10:30 or 11 at night, a man comes by dressed in a nice, like very well cut vest, and a fine shirt underneath. He comes by with a bag of like grain feed in his hands, and he sees you as he's going, and he says, "Excuse me, are you comfortable there?"
Extremely so, thank you.
Very well. If you'd like, don't mean to offer any offense, but if you'd like one, there are rooms in the stables that are quite fine. I promise you they are more than good enough for any civilized person to stay in. They're not just for workhorses. They're quite nice.
Actually, a bit more cushion would be nice with room to stretch. I'm gonna leave a note with the keep inside so that my friends know where I'm going. Can you show me the way?
Certainly. I'll wait here for you, and you can follow me when you come back.
But it takes me a moment to leave a note at the front desk, keep whatever.
As you return, he leads the way and leads you to the stables, which are this very nicely built kind of two-story wooden affair. But the inside is very well kept. Like all of the hay is pristine. The horses all seem very well cared for that are in there. And each of them have these very fine blankets. And he shows you to one of the empty stalls, which, I mean, honestly, as far as you've seen, it is the best stable you've ever been offered to stay in. He did not lie when he said it's nice enough for a person to stay in.
This is cozy. Wow. What's your name, sir?
I am Adam.
Adam, thank you. Cranmore. Pleasure to meet you two.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, Cranmore.
Is there anything I can... So what do you do around here that you know about this stable?
I run them.
Oh, so... What,
give me
so I arrived a bit late.
Just a moment. I don't mean to be rude, but I would like to set this down, gesturing to the large bag of grain he has in his arms. And he goes and just, a moment later comes back free of his burden and says, "I'm sorry, please continue."
Right. We arrived a bit late in the evening, and so usually when I come to a new place, I like to walk around and see, what's going on in town, and I usually like to pitch in a little bit to if there's something needs repair or someone needs help, or maybe you have a library or an orphanage, or where I can read books to the children, anything like that.
If there is an orphanage, it is not in this district of the city. I believe most children who are unable to be taken care of by their parents get adopted relatively quickly. But if there are any orphans, the town administrative hall would be the place to go to find it. As far as public works projects, the docks are always in need of extra hands. There's always more than enough work to go around. If you have any experience in shipwriting or repairs, they'd be more than happy to have you.
As a matter of fact, I've got quite a bit of experience in that area.
Ah, very good then.
Cheers to that. Well, thank you very much, Adam. I will rest here in the morning. I'll head that way and see if they could use a hand. Thank you.
Very good. And as you mentioned, learning the culture and what the city is like, the docks are also a very good place to learn that. So
brilliant.
I can't come up with a good fantasy-esque version of Two Birds, One Stone. So, two birds, one stone and all that. And you see a slight look of guilt as he realizes that might be offensive to someone who comes from woodlands. Oh. Good night.
It's a lot to kill one bird with one stone. I couldn't even imagine two birds. It would have to be a pretty big stone.
Get good with that sling. Or if the birds are in a really nice line,
Catapult big giant stone into a field of birds. Maybe you get two.
Yeah.
I'm trying to eat dinner.
Have you ever heard of a punt gun?
What'd you say, Dennis?
Have you ever heard of a punt gun?
Yes.
Very depressing. Very depressing.
No.
They totally decimated bird populations. Anyway, I will bunk here for the night, ready in the morning to find my friends again at the lofts, and then get to the dock.
Very good. I'm not far if you need me. Just call.
Is Shadra the daughter of the king of this city?
Not Shadra. Kersha. Shadra is the tiefling PC in the other party that has been on a hiatus for a bit. That's hilarious. I'm guessing
Yeah,
you've seen the name in
Kersha.
the chat or something. Yeah, Kersha, no. So you're an Eaglin. Kersha is the daughter of the current king of Erevar.
Oh, I wrote Hadrith for some reason.
I don't know.
And the city we're in is
Hoffengard.
okay. That is what I wrote.
Nice. Cool. And Jess, if you want to if there are questions like that and you're not sure, you can send me your notes after the session, and I can tell you if anything is incorrect in them.
Okay.
Hell, it would probably help me solidify my proper nouns, because I forget them pretty often.
Oh, I'm right. I am butchering what you're saying for proper
That's
nouns.
fine. It's not a big deal. Even if it's even remotely close, I'll be like, oh, okay, that's what he meant.
Okay, so here's how I spelled Hafengard. Hafengar.
Not super far off, honestly. It's an O and there's no E, but that's because Old Norse. In any modern spelling, there would be an E. So, yeah, pretty much.
Oh, well, then that's luckily closer than probably normal.
Yeah. It's all phonetic anyway. As long as you get the gist of it, that's what matters. Language is used only for the conveyance of ideas. If it succeeds in that, then it has succeeded in its job.
Oh yeah, I have 4 documents opened right now: general, important information, people, miscellaneous, towns, and quests.
I love it. You probably have better notes on this campaign than I do.
Only starting since we've been remote.
That's fair. Yeah, I need to get better at taking notes about especially things with proper nouns that I make up on the fly when I'm running the game. Cuz anything that I make up before the game I have. That's fine. But the stuff that I come up with because it's oh, I didn't expect them to go this route and I have to, do this, improv it. That stuff, never remember it unless I write it down. Never.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things in the very beginning of this. I'm like, wait, I think there was something important a couple years ago. I mean, 6 weeks ago, that was.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. All right. So, yeah, you all get a really wonderful night's sleep at the lofts. The beds there are quite fine, and yeah, it's a beautiful night's sleep. And as you wake up, the views from your rooms are all quite beautiful as well. Even if you are not on a bay-facing room, just the view that you get from the cliffs of the region surrounding Hoffengard is gorgeous. This rolling countryside as far as the eye can see, just incredible. And if you can see the bay, all the better. The sun glinting off of it's a little bit glary because it's kind of coming inward towards, but yeah, but it's still beautiful. I mean, the sun just shining off of the bay waters, really a breathtaking view. And from quite a ways up as well, so you can see sort of people beginning to mill about as they begin their day. What would you all like to do on this new day?
I'd like to work my way to the lofts and find you guys and say, hey, I'd like to get to the docks.
Have some business at the docks as well.
All right, to the docks you go. It is very easy to
Norwin, Rashido, what do you think?
Whatever gets us some action.
find.
Agreed.
Yeah, I follow you to the docks.
Alrighty.
And
Sorry,
I want to
I'm
look
typing it
for.
out. What's up, Jesse?
I do want to look for Delris at the docks.
Absolutely. So Delris is just like the ship captain's name, so it is not like it's you don't have to be hush hush about it or anything. You just ask around. People can point you to her ship. Um, Again, the docks are easy to find. Once you get there, you ask a couple of folks, and they point you to the right dock. The ship that is moored there is this immense galleon, and Delris doesn't seem to be present at the moment. But there are a few deckhands kind of tending to the ship, making sure the mooring lines are tight, tending to some business, um, generally guarding the ship and its wares.
While we wait for the captain to return, I'd like to see if I can make myself useful with any assistance around the dock area.
Okay, are you looking at this dock particularly, or just any of the docks around?
Anything around. If it looks like anyone needs a hand with something.
Okay, not too far away, there is a wharf where you can see a new construction on a ship going on.
I guess I'll see what they're about. And is it looking like just a merchant vessel?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to be doing something that's going to aid the Danes in some war effort.
No one here is about that.
Great.
Like,
Yeah.
they might.
All right, so I march right up. What's that?
Some of them might be like, none of them would be sympathetic to the Danes' cause in this city. Some of them might be like ambivalent towards it, but no one would be actively working on a project for the Danish army. They're
Okay.
very much not allied with them.
Okay. Well, then I march over there to let you guys know that I'm over there and lend a hand, try to be useful.
All right. Cool. So the shipwrights who are working on it, they kind of ask you, like, have you ever built a ship before? Do you know what goes into it?
I've served ship for some time at sea. I've made repairs at sea and at dock, and I have quite a bit of woodworking experience with structures on land, and other public works projects.
Well, building a ship is a bit of a different beast, but it sounds like you'll be easy enough to teach. So, and, well, you look like you can lift a hell of a lot. So, absolutely, we'd love your help.
Excellent.
Follow me and lift what I tell you to and put it where I tell you to.
No problem.
All right. Are you attempting to learn the craft as you go along?
Absolutely.
Okay. Go ahead and make an intelligence check for me.
Okay. 16.
All right. Ships aren't built in a day, so you're not going to get everything. But as you are putting things in certain places, you are pretty quickly able to kind of grok the reasoning behind the curvature of the hull and why certain pieces have to be reinforced the way they are. You're getting a good understanding for the philosophy behind shipbuilding. Morthos, Norman, or Farkin, are any of you all doing anything other than waiting for the captain to return?
Nope.
Cool.
Not really.
All right. After probably chatting with the deckhands who are around a little bit and waiting for maybe a half hour or so as Cranmore works on this other shipbuilding project nearby, Delris does return to her ship, and she is an Aarakocra, actually. Which might come as a surprise to some of you. Aarakocra are bird people, effectively. And she strides up towards the dock and sees the group of you and goes, "Ah, what have we here? What can I do for you, masters?"
My name is Morthos.
I'm Delris. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure also. We are seeking passage, but I also seek conversation about your position in this. I lost my train of thought.
Conflict? War?
It's conflict war.
Okay. I see. She kind of looks over her shoulders, sees a couple of her deckhands about, kind of nods to one of them who takes up kind of a position at the head of the dock. Not like deliberately blocking, but just kind of making himself an obstacle to anyone who would try and approach the group of you as you're chatting.
I've been told you could be a friend.
I could be. That depends on your goal.
If you'd have a conversation with me, I think we could come to an idea that could benefit both.
Let's talk. And she gestures to the three of you to the gangplank up to her ship. Cranmore, you do see that this is going on. Do you want to join, or do you want to continue working on your ship?
I feel like I'm kind of in the middle of something, and they'll let me know when they need me.
Okay. All right. So as the three of you board the ship, she takes you down a deck, and there is a rather simple but serviceable wooden table with several chairs around it. She pulls two of them away, leaving only four, and kind of sits herself down in one and gestures for the three of you to do the same.
I'll take a seat.
She pours herself a drink. It smells like rum, and offers the bottle to the rest of you.
I'll humbly accept.
She pours you one. Farkin and Norwin, would you like a drink?
Yeah, I take it.
All right. She pours one for Norwin, and as Farkin politely declines, she nods her head and sets the bottle down. So, what did you have in mind?
Well, we have a bit of a goal ourselves, and I think we have some interesting proposition for you. We have recently obtained a stronghold near here with ports. We are looking to gain trade among those ports, but I myself am also looking for an ally in my understanding and information trade across this country.
Eaglin or broader? As she drinks, it's because she has a bit of a beak. So she actually kind of cracks her beak open and tips the glass in on the side, to kind of avoid the awkward like hooked beak going into the glass.
Nice.
World building.
Wait, what is she?
She's an Aarakocra, a bird woman.
Okay, so I spelled it ARECOCKRAA.
Google
Close
it.
enough. It's a
Google.
D&D official race. I think it's AARAKOCRA. Yeah, AARAKOCRA. But again, it's all phonetics. Who cares?
Oh, you said within Adrith or within Erevar or within Dane?
Eaglin or broader is mostly the question.
Broader.
Are you looking to establish a
Layla's
network that
in
spans
Dane.
countries, or focuses on one?
I would like to get as much reach as possible.
Wouldn't we all? Well, I have a few contacts in both Dane and Erevar. The ones I have in Dane are trustworthy, I assure you. They are none too pleased with Darren's activities.
Would we be able to get a message out to Layla? And I describe where Layla.
Lila?
That's what I said.
Okay, cool. Just making sure that I wasn't like not remembering an NPC name, and I'm like, shit, wait, where, who?
That's just me not remembering it correctly.
All good. All right.
Probably how I spelled it.
Within the Deadwood, you say? Intriguing. I always wondered if the curses people talked about had any truth to them.
Not so much there.
It would seem not. Well, that's quite a strategic location for us, actually, as the Tuka Channel is a convenient way to get things between our particular part of Eglin and Erevar. Going through there is the shortest path.
You would be among the first that gained opportunity in port trade with
Indeed. And what resources does Lila have to offer?
Well, currently we are starting.
We have a lot of dead wood.
A lot of great wood to work with, and some farming areas that are just starting to get up. But we also have a great central location for information trading.
That is true. Your location's strategic usefulness cannot be denied. Lumber is always useful in the shipping industry as well. That does seem like a strong position, and I assume there would be protection offered as well, since if it gets out that the Tuka channel is being used for the relay of information, it will likely become a target.
This conversation stays strictly with us, I believe.
Certainly, but once boats start moving, that may not be quite so true.
Well, there's a difference between an increase in market share and market transfer and some of the information that comes through. It could be we build market trade and move information along with it. There's nothing wrong with new ports and new business and new market shares growing within that area.
Fair enough.
There would, of course, be some measure of protection against the Dane.
Very good.
The Danish Navy.
And for all of this, what do you want? Can you give me a concrete thing that I can give you in return?
I only ask for two things. One, a message to go to Lila on your first voyage there to my assistant Bjorn. And two, passage to get
to an undisclosed place.
Well, an undisclosed place is difficult to take you to.
Gyalvith.
It is within the bay.
I see. You wish to sail into the storm.
We do.
That is why your offer is so rich. Because it would have to be to convince any captain worth their salt to sail their ship into assured destruction. I see. Intriguing. What do you have to gain from going into the maelstrom?
Everything.
An upper hand against the Danish, for what?
That would seem to serve both our goals. And do you have a plan for surviving this storm?
Well,
What's
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, what's the storm like out of character?
So
You're referring to the
out of character knowledge. The
fog
storm that
around.
she's referring to it's not the fog around the Shrouded Isles. What he's referring to is the storm within the bay. The sort of ring around the outside that is close to the shore is relatively safe for passage. But when you get into the deeper waters of the bay, it is sort of overtaken by these supernatural storms, and the sailors who have gone in that area have reported, ships being destroyed by sea monsters, and of a whole fleet, only one ship making it out alive.
So is that a constant thing?
Uh, it ebbs and flows, but there's always something.
Well, we are not. We are tried and true against opposition that we've had among the water creatures.
We have already killed a few sea monsters. I'm sure there is nothing out there that can.
One or the other of you, if you want, either both separately or one of you with advantage. I'd probably recommend having Morthos do it with advantage. Okay.
Wait, so are we both doing it separately?
Yep.
That's a 20.
I got an 8. Wait, I have the same charisma modifier as you?
I get a +3.
Okay.
I must admit, if you have done something like this before, you think you can get through it. And we have this ship at our disposal. She kind of looks around the room, this deck of the ship with pride. Call me Delris the Stormbreaker. I think that would be my title.
A name much deserving.
It would be. If we survive, and there's only one way to find out if we'll survive. Very well. I'll take you up on your offer. I will sail out into the Gelvith Bay for you. If you survive doing what you want and retrieve whatever it is you desire from within the maelstrom, then we will set up a line of communication and passage around the horn of the bay and up north to the Tuka Channel, opening up trade routes with Erevar and an agreed upon exchange of information and protection from the Danish.
I stand up and outreach my hand to shake.
She stands and does the same. A firm handshake later, and the deal is sealed. Now, I will need 2 days to prepare for the journey, to reinforce some of the rigging and ensure that everything is, well, as tightly rigged as it can be. So, dawn 2 days from now, return and we'll set sail.
That sounds great.
All right. Excellent. So, you are now in this city, the city of Hoffengard, for 2 days. What would you all like to do? I guess we could. Actually, so let's go around and get what do people want to do, and then I can decide the order in which we should resolve things. So you get effectively 2 days worth of downtime. Morthos, what are you thinking?
I'm looking to send a message out to Bjorn to speak vaguely about a possible ally and the princess of Erevar.
Okay. Cranmore, how about you?
I'm going to continue to work at the docks, probably continuing on this one project while sharing stories from them and from us, from them being the dock workers and from us, the Keepers of Fate, while trying to rally support locally for our cause, which seems to already be there anyway.
Mm-hmm. Give me just a sec here. Actually, no, don't give me just a sec here. Farkin, what are you feeling like?
Barkin's crawling out of his skin. His wanderlust is at its limit. So he's just gonna kind of go around looking for odd jobs and stuff like that, killing rats, figuring out stuff that he can do.
Okay. There is a relatively thriving industry around the docks and fish markets. So there are certainly deals to be made there. Is he looking to kind of exercise his charlatan background a little bit and try and get something out of people, or is he mostly just looking to pass the time?
Most of the thing just to kill stuff.
Okay. Not kill time, kill stuff.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And Norwin, how about you?
Otherwise, shit's gonna start randomly catching on fire.
It might anyway.
I'm gonna randomly catch stuff on fire. No. I'm gonna look for temples.
Okay. As you are in Eaglin, the temples you find are to Skadi and Forseti, who are gods of oceans and mountains.
I go to the
Sorry. Skadi is mountains and oceans. Forseti is justice and law.
Forseti is what?
Justice and law.
Yeah, I go to the other one, the oceans and mountains one.
Alrighty. So the temple to, well, I'll decide how to resolve this in a second, actually. Trying to find a small piece of information.
And do I know have an idea of like what the limitations of this god's power are over the
Not really. Well, make a religion check for me. Wow. Why is it hard to find how long it took to make a ship?
That's 24.
Is that with or without Kiefer Sutherland?
Yes.
Is that plus 66 or plus 6?
It's plus 6. So it's a 24.
I'm like, damn, 84? That's a crazy roll.
You get whatever you want. You win the game.
Oh my lord. Alright, there is not a lot of great information about this, but it sounds like it takes a really long time. Which, I guess? I don't know. Like, on the order of years. But that's, like, later than the medieval period? Maybe it was less because the ships were less complicated? I don't know. Somebody else wants to exercise some Google foo while they're not also DMing. That'd be awesome, but...
Thanks very much. Done.
Yeah, let's go in reverse order of who said things actually. It works out. So Norwin, as you're going to this temple, what was your religion check? 24. Okay, so your knowledge of Scotty it's not complete, because he's not your god, but you have a pretty good idea. And he does tend to have some purported power over like storms at sea and calming them, and helping certain sailors and those who pray to him and are devoted to have safe passage on the waves. Um, as far as like mountains go, that typically tends to lend itself more to like you know miners will pray to him for not having cave-ins, and dwarves tend to like him, although not quite as much as Gond, the god of craft. Um, and he tends to have some. There are legends of devotees of Skadi like long ago, like pre-scouring, but only revealed through like visions that priests claim to have had, of like high priests being able to literally move mountains or like part oceans and things like that. Whether or not there's any real truth to them is questionable, but there are no instances like that in recent memory. So he
Yeah.
has some influence, but he's not all powerful over these forces.
Okay. So I say, if shit goes bad, beam me up, Scotty. But more importantly, I ask him to bless our journey and make sure we're safe on our voyage.
Okay. Let's see. Go ahead and make another religion check, and add a +1 to it.
12.
Okay. A priest, as you're praying, kind of comes over to you and lays a hand on your shoulder and says, "I sense a holiness in you. Are you a priest of Skadi?"
I am a cleric of Ogma.
Not Torm, like I always say. Ugh. He says, "I see. Well, welcome to our temple. Would you, are you going on a voyage sometime soon? Is that why you've come?
Indeed, I am.
Allow me to sit and pray with you for safe passage."
Thank you. I would very much appreciate that.
Of course. Anything for a fellow ascetic, even if it is not of the same god. He kneels beside you and prays with you for a bit, and that is where you get your +1 from. As he stands after the prayer is finished, he turns to you and says, "My name is Ethelred. If you need anything else while you're in the city, come back and call on me. I'll do what I can to help."
Thank you. You are most kind.
"Good journey to you." And he takes his leave. All right, Farkin, gonna fark shit up. So as you are searching for something to do, go ahead and roll me an investigation check.
Sure. Let me grab that tab here somewhere, somehow.
I'm gonna
No,
grab your
you have to
tab.
roll it in your head.
Oh no,
I got a 21.
All right, cool.
I rolled it in my head. It's just a random seed of 20s.
Perfect. There we go. All right. So you don't find any rats to kill.
He actually got an 8.
Yeah, I told him I rolled it in my head.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't have a random number generator in my head.
Why not?
Tick-a-tick-a-tick-a-tick-a-tick. Oh, 8.
You're a programmer. You're supposed to have a random number generator at all times.
I have random thoughts, but beyond the point. Yeah. What am I?
BionD the point?
Oh God. That was good. Inspiration for you.
All right. So yeah, you don't find any rats per se. But you figure, if somebody's gonna have a problem, it's probably gonna be around the docks. That seems to be where the most activity is, and just law of numbers. You get more activity, you get more shit going wrong. So as you're asking around, you actually find a couple of fishing boats that, as you ask if they've got anything like just troubling them, one of them says, yeah, I do. One of my favorite spots. I swear, I catch like 4 times as many fish there as anywhere else. But the last week or so, it has just been overrun with eels, and they're driving away
on the
all of my
water?
catch. Yeah.
Like on your boat.
No, like when I go out to that spot, there's eels in the water, and I can't fish there.
Hey, that sucks.
Yeah. So, I don't know, if you could do something about the eels, that'd be cool.
Yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of fish. Good luck with that.
Alright. Well, thanks, I guess. Bye.
I kind of walk off. So I'm gonna go to the what was it? The energetic elephant, right? They're the ones who
Excitable,
make the bread
yes.
and the excitable elephant. Yeah.
Yep.
Because I figure they've got grain stores, and I'm gonna look over there and ask the tender again, same person or not,
Yep.
See if they could use any rat extermination.
She kind of rubs at her temple a little bit and says, you must be psychic or something. Yeah, we've got a bit of a problem. We actually lost a couple of vats to rats the other day.
That sounds messy.
Yeah. It was really unfortunate. Probably hit our profit lines come next spring, but
Are they in a cellar or something?
yep. Yeah, just if you go back here, I'll show you. She takes you into the rear of the building and kind of shows you a large hatched door that opens down into a cellar. Yeah, it's down there.
Cool. Well, you know what? Hey, I can probably take care of those for you if maybe I can get some bread for what. Your bread was really good the other day.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, you can have all the bread you want for a week if you take care of the problem.
Great, awesome, thank you. I'll let you know when we're all dead.
Okay. Thanks. All right, roll initiative. You don't actually need to roll initiative. I am not going to make you actually fight a fuck ton of rats at level 10. Unless you really want to. We can.
I less want to fight a fuck ton of rats at level 10 as I want to Tides of Chaos cast Scorching Ray as a 5th level.
All right, cool. Excellent. Roll those, what is that 6 rays? 7?
Yeah, it's going to be 6.
6? All right, roll those attack rolls.
All right, so with the Tides of Chaos, am I going to just get the advantage on one of them or all of them? I think it just says one. Yeah, so one attack roll. So yeah, since I have to make individual attack rolls, never mind.
I don't know if that feels wrong. Like, I see the wording in the description.
Rats might be
but it's
treated
like,
as a swarm in this case, which makes them like one enemy.
you know what? I
It's a
like it.
swarm.
Let's do that. you've got a swarm that you can hit, so you only need the one. Well, I guess it's still the same number of attack rolls, but
Sure. All right, so I rolled
because it's 7
20.
rays, not 7 targets. But yeah, you rolled what?
I rolled a 20 attack roll 6 times.
All right, cool.
And I Tides of Chaos it, and I'll roll 1 damage roll for all of them. And do you want me to roll on the Wild Magic table?
Yes, I do.
All right, so 6 rolls of damage of 8 fire damage. And let's see what 40 is.
All right.
Sorry, I'm having to bounce back and forth because I don't have like things imported into the thing.
Yeah, we'll get there. It's a new tool. It's a fun new toy.
Hey, me too.
I can't find it. Give me a second.
You want to use your stone and roll that again, because 40 is you regain 2d10 hit points, and that's boring as shit.
Sure.
All right, you
That's
teleport
interesting.
60 feet to an unoccupied space you can see. That's also kind of boring.
Yeah. How about I just pick, I cast Polymorph on myself, and I turn into
Turn into a what?
You turn into a what?
I was gonna say rat, but that doesn't sound very much fun. All right, since I'm going down here with fire, I cast Fireball on my.
Okay.
But if you turn into a rat, then the barkeeper or whatever will try to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't want to do that. That'd
It
be
would be
bad.
kind of funny though, because you just turn back into yourself as she's whacking you with a broom.
Yeah.
But alright, so if you're casting Fireball on yourself, yeah, I'm gonna say probably one or two of the other vats in the cellar catch on fire. Just boom. Oh boy.
So here's a question: Does the cellar have an external entrance, or do I have to run up back through the bar?
You gotta run up back through the bar.
I'm a little singed. I come running up the stairs. They're all dead. Bye. And I just bolt right out the door, which is probably when she starts smelling smoke.
Yeah, you hear a "Oh God!" from the inside of the bar, and yeah, are you just running?
Yeah, just straight out the door as
Cool.
far as I can go.
Yep. All right. So you just don't look back. You just keep going. Eventually, you get to like either the edge of town or some place that's far enough away that you're like, okay, fine. And by that point, there's kind of a pillar of smoke issuing forth from the bar.
All right, then I'll try and edge my way back around town to the dock,
Okay.
giving the elephant the singed elephant plenty of room.
All right. Within like as you're moving around, you like scooting around the edge of the city, you can see like several brigades of like townsfolk with just barrels of water like rushing towards the inn. Um, And by the time you make it to the docks, the plume of smoke has turned white.
Whew, that's good.
All right. Excellent. Okay. So that's day 1. On day 2, well, okay. On day 2, you see a picture of a halfling. Like all of you at various points throughout the day, see posters of a halfling with "wanted" underneath of it, and it looks nothing like Rashido. It is just nowhere close. So
All
none of the
halflings
3
look
of
alike,
you,
right?
unless he says anything, would have any clue that he was related to this happenstance. It is like
We know.
If it's fire and there's a halfling, it's probably me. I mean, granted,
that's fair.
I wouldn't put that past everybody to connect the dots on that one.
That's fair.
I think we
yeah.
know.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's not from the drawing. I can tell you that much. Whereas Rashido kind of has like a bit of a softer, kinder face just to lure you in. Like this halfling like looks like a demon. Like this halfling just looks evil, and it's like that's not Rashido. Yeah. All right. So, Cranmore.
I'm doing boring stuff. I'm just working at the dock,
Yes.
building shit, practicing a skill, trading stories,
So I would
learning
like
about the place by storytelling.
Alrighty. Since we're close to the end of the session, I will opt that we should not roleplay that out, although it would be fun.
Thank you. That's
if
fine.
you'd like to, we could do it at the beginning of the next session.
No, that's fine.
Okay. I mean, it's fun shit, but alright. So go ahead and roll for me a pair of intelligence checks.
I got an 18 and a 2.
Okay. And your one from the previous day was a 16, yeah?
Yes.
Alright, cool. Go ahead and roll a d10 for me.
Got a 4.
Alrighty. Mark down 4% as your progress towards proficiency in shipbuilding.
Okay, does this, with my D20 rolls, does that work at all with my other woodworking proficiencies?
This is more specific, but yes, I would say you could feasibly add your proficiency bonus to these rolls. That is a good point.
So that would have been a 23, a 25, and a 9 in that case.
Alright, bump it up to 2d10. So roll another d10 and add that to your 4.
All right, that was an 8, so I'm 12% of the way to knowing how to build a ship.
Alrighty. Cool. And Morthos, you wanted to get that letter sent to Bjorn. That is easy enough. You can send it with another ship that Delris trusts. Is there anything else you would like to do?
No, just I think that's good. Just send them the message that the conversation we're talking about and the and to look for ships docking that are going to be our future marketplace.
Okay.
And
Sounds good. Alrighty then. So with that, the 2 days pass, and at the dawn of the 3rd day, look to the east. But actually go to the west because that's where the docks are. You arrive at the docks at Delris's ship, and she is prepared to set sail. And we close with the image of our heroes setting off, sailing from the beautiful coastline of the city of Hoffengard into the black cloud maelstrom in the middle of Gyalvith Bay. And that is where we will pick up next time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this week's episode of Beyond D&D, and may all your rolls be lucky.
And wild.
And wild.
Craymore points off to the. What the heck is that? I don't think he's been privy to the notes that there's a storm.
Nope.
Or like that there's an issue out there.
That, Delris says, is the maelstrom. Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, Matt, do you have an email I can send these notes to?
Sure, but let me give it to you off stream.